You are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain more clients, create more impact and more revenue in your business. Tune in to Amplify Your Marketing Message with Campbell Rapin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers that convert consistently. We'll see you all on the inside. Welcome back, my friends. I am coming to you breathing fire today, and it is a question that might sting a little. And it is the question of what are you tolerating when it comes to your sales success? Here on Amplify Your Marketing Message today, we're going to dial in the sales conversation and ask you this lightning rod. Are you playing at the game of business, or are you winning at the game of business? I am Campbell Rapin. I am your host here on this podcast, and my story is one of sales success. Clients come to me when they are in a drought, a sophomore slump, or wondering where the hell their next client is coming from at 3 a.m. And they come to me because I have worked with more than 400 businesses to create $1 billion in combined revenue. And so often they think that the answer is marketing, when in fact they have a sales problem. And so today I'm going to throw you a lifeline to talk about the fact that you're tolerating a sales drought and putting your head in the sand is costing you more than you can afford. And I'm not coming here just with the big questions. I'm coming here with you a roadmap out of the sophomore slump so that you don't feel like a one-hit wonder, but you get back into momentum with your sales pipeline. So the first thing I want to get crystal clear is that it is everybody's responsibility, whether you're a solopreneur or you're working within a team in a corporate or small business role, is sales. I think there's a lot of personal responsibility that needs to be given, gifted, and received. That selling is everybody's responsibility. In fact, their number one responsibility day to day, because your business only exists to serve clients. And only when you have somebody who says, I value that higher than an investment, will money move hands. And so sales is the money-making machine. And when you have clients coming to you, it means there is momentum, results, and value being created. So first off, let's take responsibility that it isn't something somebody else needs to be responsibility. It isn't a nice to have. It isn't a I'll fix that tomorrow problem. Right now, if you are in a drought, your number one focus is a course correction listening to today's episode to recognize that you are tolerating playing at the game of business. And the longer you do that, my friends, there's a high probability that you will simply run out of runway. And that would be a tragedy that can be avoided. Because the truth is, you've got to think of it this way. If you are in a traditional role, traditional employment, and you did not create results in 3 months or 6 months or 9 months, or God Almighty, beyond a year, you would have performance review. You'd have a performance improvement plan. You might have a few chances, but if you did not take a course correction, your butt should be released from the responsibility. Yep, that means you're going to get fired or let go. Because your business is about performance. And right now that performance is subpar. And so you need to recognize that while you had wanted all this freedom to do exactly what you want, the things you're doing are not creating the result that you were necessarily designed for, which is sales success. And so when that happens and droughts occur, and by the way, droughts occur to us all, we need to take action. And for many, it gets into, again, that playing in the world of business. It means that you Googled something, you Pinterested something. I keep making that a whole verb. So funny. You've gone to YouTube. Perhaps you have grabbed a free resource. Perhaps you've been binging the content here in this platform. Perhaps you've attended a summit. Perhaps you have taken a course. Perhaps even you have hired a guide, a mentor, or somebody to train you. Those all sound like good ideas if knowledge is the problem. But where the rubber hits the road and you are in a sales drought, it is not knowledge that will be the holy grail that rescues you. Because truthfully, it's probably not a knowledge gap. It's that you're hiding from the activity that changes the result. And so I'm going to call you on it and say, stop looking for a tactic where knowledge is the solution, because knowledge isn't the problem. You're solving for the wrong thing. And in my case, so often what I see is you're trying to solve it with marketing. And I would tell you it's not a marketing problem if you have a sales fundamental problem. You're chasing the wrong squirrel. It's not to say that marketing doesn't have a role to play in speeding up sales, but if you never convert the sales, marketing has done its job and it's not their fault. You have a sales problem, my friends. So I want to talk about sales. And we've talked about these in theory many times, but it's time for a recap. Sales function comes down to 3 core building blocks. Every business on the planet, whether you are a small business or a person who works in the world of corporate, this is true. Take it to the bank. $1 billion of expertise behind me that says this is the pathway forward. This is the sales function in a nutshell. You need to know who the hell is the next buyer. Okay, that's a pinpoint of intersection. Who are they? What do they want? What's their problem? What are they seeking? And why is it non-negotiable? You've got to have a really deep understanding. And when I see people go into a sales drought and I get invited in to either be a consultation or I get right into the fire and actually help correct the ship, I come in asking this question. And what I observe so often is that is cloudy. We might think we've got it dialed down, but our actions are incongruent. We're not in the same speed. We're not in the same language. We have moved too far. The market's moved too far and we have become disconnected, which means they are searching on the line, Google, Pinterest, YouTube, and they are not finding you and they're walking right past, again, tragedy. But number one, you've got to know who and what. That's a choice you make. So don't abdicate it. Get really intimate with it. And in my business, I review it quarterly. Are we still clear who we're serving? Is that who we want to serve? Do we really understand what motivates them and how to get them moving? That's number 2, is the movement piece. Everything is in movement. You do not control in sales when somebody says yes, but you control the activity and you can stack the deck. The more activity that is focused on the right things, the more speed, propensity to yes you will create. But you've got to focus on movement. And that is strategy. Okay, that's not tactic. The tactics are working. If you think the answer is the problem is SEO, I will tell you SEO is working great for somebody else in the marketplace right now. BS. I call it. It's BS. It's not the tactic. It's the tactic is not applying to you because you're not executing it in a coherent plan of strategy. Strategy is the ability to consistently, predictably, with intent and profitability, move somebody from curious to paid client. And the big observation that I make when people are in a sales drought is they are not clear how to move people. They are taking too many assumptions as fact. And they truly don't recognize the speed, the emotions, and the tolerance for BS with their buyer. And what that shows up as is you're trying to sell a unicorn because now you've had a drought and you need a holy grail or a big fat whale to be solving the cash crunch. And they're not that interested in being a whale. They want to be a minnow. They're looking for smaller wins. They're looking to test things out. And that means that you guys, again, are in this massive disconnection and you're both playing at a game where you're faking it. Stop it. Movement is the key. And movement is built around a framework of decisions. There are your decision-making criteria, your They're how you evaluate your return on investment. And here's the clear piece. If what you're doing is not creating movement, and movement isn't with the right people who get to yes, it's not working. Hiding, patching with a Band-Aid isn't going to help solve this problem. And so many times people come into my space because I say, you need to slow it down. And my role as a business mentor, whether you work with me privately as a private client or whether you come into my business in a group program, our job is to be the other side of the coin for you, to help you stay connected to the intersection point you chose, which is the buyer decisions. We are here to help you slow down the movement by finding the right language, the right tone, the right speed, the right next step that keeps people moving definitively in the right direction when they are your perfect client, and the wrong direction where we escort them into another path to be served by somebody else, because they will be happily served by somebody else. And the truth is, there's a lot of steps. And often people don't recognize the amount of steps we need to create. 7 to 12 before they're even visible is the norm. People get lost in the in-between. They fall into the abyss and say, that was interesting. I love it. Now what? It's dangerous for somebody on the other side of the table to be saying, you got my attention. Now what? But trust me, I would see it every single day of the week. Sounds great. Now what? I watch it in some of my clients before they come to work with me. And I'm like, that's great. It's educational. You're the likable expert. But when are you going to put an offer on the table or move them to something that gets them making progress? Seeing you as the must hire, increasing urgency. This is a fundamental piece of the puzzle. And you might be thinking, okay, well, I want to move people, but I'm not motivated by money. I'm going to say, I'm not really sure that that's true. But even if money is the thing that you're sitting with and holding tight, saying, I don't want to be motivated by money, even though I'm in business, money's not bad, my friends. It's just a thing that provides capacity and capabilities to do things. I think it's kind of awesome. But I don't get out of bed for money. I get out of bed for 3 activities. If these 3 things happen, I know money always follows. Number 1, people come to me saying, Christine, I got your name from somebody, which means I was clear who my buyer was. Somebody advocated, identified themselves as such, and came into my room and said, hi, I think I might be in the right place. But they gave my name, and that means I have a reputation for solving a problem. Do you? That's not a rhetorical question. Do you? Second thing that happens, which I really celebrate because it indicates movement, is somebody comes to me and says, I would like your opinion on something. And that's imperative, especially in today's digital age, and especially if you're a service-based business, because people can find the nuts and bolts. They can Google it, Pinterest, YouTube it, download a free PDF, go to a summit and get the knowledge they need. You cannot build a business successfully on knowledge alone. Why people pay you money is because you bring a context, a special lens, and a way in which you see a framework to create predictable results. When people come to me saying, I'd like your opinion on something, it says, I like the way you think. I'd like to see how you think about something that is not yet known. And it means they trust me to have honesty, integrity, and a perspective that says, I want you to win. So I'm winning in the world when that happens. It creates movement. The third thing that really motivates me in the second piece of movement is when somebody comes to me and says, what is my blind spot? Often it's somebody who does something similar to me that comes to me with that question, because truthfully, we all have blind spots, and I can see quickly yours and you can see quickly mine, but we cannot find our own. And that means that they respect me to be honest. They respect me to help advocate for their best interests, and they will help themselves see and articulate the thing that they're avoiding with their head in the sand. Because truthfully, sometimes you really know, but you're just like, if I just ignore it, it will go away. But those few brave people come in and say, this would be less painful, more effective if I just got a lens to see the other side of the coin. So that's when I know I'm winning. When those 3 things are happening, business always follows. Opportunity is always created, and I feel awesome and I sleep really well at night because I know impact and money follow that. But the second piece of the puzzle in the sales function is you've got to create the movement. And the question I will ask you is, do you feel like you've stalled? Because stalling is costing you your next client. You've got to curate movement, and that means adjusting your speed, playing intentionally the speed at which you navigate the world, and recognize the speed at which your next client is moving. Because truthfully, Speed and synchronicity is important. That's number 2. Number 3 is you've got to recognize that value creation is seen in the eyes of your buyer. And so often when we go through a drought, we start thinking the answer is a new offer. I'm not always convinced that that's the case. The part of the reason is you're thinking, I just need either a new offer or some marketing. And I'm like, I think we're missing the fundamentals. There's a market for everybody. There's a market for every offer. You're not having a problem. If the drought is in place, you're looking at this from your lens. You're communicating from your lens. And here's how this shows up. In a period of drought, you start to overstuff the offer. You start to wobble on the price. You think that price is the reason people aren't buying. Nope, not true. It's that they don't see value. And they're not seeing value because your wobble, i.e., I'm starting to panic because I don't know where my next client's coming from at 3:00 in the morning, shows up as function. It's the nuts and bolts that you're selling from instead of value creation conversation. Your buyer, your next buyer, gets to set the value. And only when they see value more than the investment and get to yes is when money moves hands. So when you are disconnected in a drought and you're faking being a business owner and you haven't had a client in 3+, 6 months, 12 months, or a year or more, depending on your sales cycle, you've got to get really clear by going back to them saying, what do they value? Chances are it's not a single one-dimensional attribute. It's a bigger story. I know when I've been interviewing some of my past clients, why did you choose to work with me? Some of the conversations that they came to was, you helped me focus on the business foundations. I was avoiding them. You helped me realize that if I didn't make an offer, I didn't have any sales. That wasn't very comfortable. You said it to me probably 100 times. They also will come to me and said, when I follow your system, your structure, your support, and I listen to the voice inside my head that's Christine running in beautiful circles, I get dialed into the things that matter. And I don't wake up at 3:00 in the morning in panic. So my overall mental health is better. Well, this is your wake-up call. This is the episode you've been waiting for. What are you tolerating in terms of drought when it comes to sales? If you're thinking that that paycheck that is dwindling, or that bankroll that's dwindling, or that safety net is dwindling, the answer is not a summit, a course, a download, a free Google search. Knowledge isn't the problem, it's applying it. And you're not applying the 3 foundations effectively to your business. So the simple answer is clear. You can't put your head in the sand any longer. And that's going to mean you have to want this and bet on yourself to say, I need support to make this happen. Stop playing at being in business and become an effective business owner, a leader, somebody who solves the problem. Because truthfully, it's not enough to say, I've got a plan, if you don't execute the plan. If you could execute the plan, you would have. I call BS. And you're not making movement. And it's getting shakier on the foundations every single day you don't. Sometimes I know in the world of business, people have reserves and expect droughts. And truthfully, if you're a business owner, you should keep cash reserves for when there's a drought, because there will be a time when there's a drought. Because we stop doing what we know we need to do. Everybody does it. I do it. I hopefully take a course correction fast, but sometimes I take the lesson and go, oh my God, seriously? Christine, you know better. But the truth is that if you're relying on savings, you need the wake-up call of today. Stop playing at business and get great at running a business. You can be scared of success, scared of other people depending on you, scared of making the offer. I will tell you, the distance of doing the hokey pokey where you start from zero and go at it is the reason you're stalled. Okay, we're in a stall. Wake up, get out of it, and get back into movement. That answer is a very simple one, especially if you're still listening now. It is to come and work with me. I work with clients to create this client growth engine. We build these 3 foundations so there's zero doubt about your strategy and zero doubt about you disciplinedly executing the knowledge you already have. And you always have me in your back pocket, advocating for 2 people, you to win and your client to find you, so that they can see the value that you bring to the marketplace, say yes to you as a human being, predictably, profitably, consistently, so that you together create this amazing ripple of change where you amplify success, where you see leadership, people, humanity win. I have capacity in my calendar right now to take you as a client. Come and talk to me. Stop tolerating. If you were in the world of corporate and you didn't have the results after months, you'd be let go. It's time to fire yourself in terms of setting your own strategy. You need to recognize you need a mentor, a leader, and somebody who's been where you want to go, picked yourself up out of the fire hundreds of times, and knows how to win the game. We are going to be stronger together than you are on your own. And you cannot hope that clients fall from the sky unless you build the rain machine that makes that so. That's what my programs create. They help you sustain business growth, and they get you out of the feast and famine cycle that you're part of. So if we've not met and you've never explored my programs, today's your day. Go to ChristineCampbellRapin.com. Let's ignite your client growth. There's 2 options, group programs or private clients. You choose the path that's right for you. But the one thing I know right now is it's time to stop playing at business and go be great as a business. I will see you on the inside. That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell Rapin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit ChristineCampbellRapin.com/podcast to get a free resource on how to master your marketing message. We'll see you all on our next episode.